Many of you have been asking me whether or not you're gonna have to pay for a monthly subscription just to use Amazon's voice assistant. Now, a lot of people are reading reports that show that Amazon will add a subscription come June. So just to help as much as I can, I'm making this short video to explain whether or not they're gonna add that sub to your existing smart home devices. I will tell you that yes, there will be a charge for some of their voice assistant, but it's not likely in the way you think. And it's for something called Plus. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and my goal here on the channel is to save you time and money on your journey to live smarter. So if you like that idea, hit that subscribe button right now. We are smack dab in the middle of the age of sensationalism. And while I try to avoid that as much as I can on the channel, sometimes the only way to get your message out is to provide a little bit of a sensational title. And that's why a lot of the reports that I and you have seen have said that Amazon wants to get you to pay a subscription for their voice assistant. But there's a specific quote that I'm going to use from David Limp, who has now moved on to bigger and better things, but led the Amazon hardware team for a very long time. What he said during an interview with Bloomberg last year explains the whole situation. Number one, before Amazon charges for their voice assistant, it would need to be remarkable. Number two, their costs as a company are going up substantially to move to this new generative AI experience. And number three, the voice assistant that you know and love today is going to remain free. Of course, things can change, but we're seeing a similar situation with Google, with the introduction of their voice assistant called Bard. Now you see a video for that situation, which is a little more complex than this, in the description below. So check that out to understand how Google's doing things. It's very clear that Amazon is not going to take all your existing devices and turn off their voice assistant unless you pay a monthly subscription fee. In case you haven't noticed, they're kind of in deep at this point, and that would be what I would call corporate suicide. I don't think there's anyone watching this video today who would accept that and then continue to buy any sort of Amazon products, myself included. Through this, Amazon's been very clear that they will check in with their customers and see what they're willing to spend on. This will come from different ways that companies do market research, and many of us won't be included in that. But they must already have somewhat of a good idea that they can get people to pay for some additional features that are coming to the voice assistant. And what I mean by that is that the new Miss A Plus, which is scheduled to come out in June, will be a generative AI version of Amazon's voice assistant. We've seen little snippets of this at the hardware event in late 2023 and some announcements that happened at CES 2024. And just to tie this back to what David Limp said, the internal name for this new Plus level voice assistant is called Remarkable Miss A. So their objective as a company is to launch this Remarkable Miss A in June. And their other objective is to get you to pay for those new features. However, the existing voice assistant experience isn't changing, and we've actually seen evidence of that during the demos of this new Remarkable Miss A. Now, when David Limp showed us this at the hardware event in late 2023, you had to physically switch over in order to have that conversational Plus level assistant there. That's an easy break point for Amazon to limit you and to ask you to spend money on a subscription if you want to use that service. It won't necessarily always be that way. And don't get me wrong, Amazon's going to try hard to find ways to get you to pay for that subscription. I think one of the best examples is the current Character.ai site. It's actually a skill, and it's a deployment of the technology behind Amazon's new Remarkable Miss A. Those kinds of things will likely be kept behind a paywall. I think a lot of the older system of skills will move a little bit to the wayside. Those will be the things that will cause you to want to upgrade and to pay that subscription. Or maybe it won't. Maybe you don't care at all. But the fact is that Amazon does not appear to be making you pay for their existing voice assistant. This is a layered technology. Now, the really interesting thing about this whole situation, at least to me, is that it sounds like we won't even get anything come June. The latest report from Business Insider shows that a lot of employees are finding major issues with Remarkable Miss A. There's recommendations to delay the launch, and there's a lot of concern about what is called hallucination, which tends to be a problem with this kind of technology. It sounds like most people who use this are suggesting that people will not pay for it. And that was one of the key points that David Limp was making. Their voice assistant has to become something that you want to pay for. That's the objective, and it's clear that Amazon has gone all in on trying to do this. But whether or not they can get there for June is another whole story. I can't tell you what they will do, and I won't even bother guessing whether or not they'll launch a full version in June, or launch nothing at all, or launch a stripped down version. If they launch this in the wrong way, they're going to lose a lot of the goodwill that they have picked up over years, allowing people to use their voice assistant for free. They need to launch this only when it is an extremely positive experience for customers. And the other little piece of this is that Amazon is already deploying versions of their generative AI technology. They have something called Q, which can be deployed for developers or for businesses. And these are sources of revenue that the company will be able to rely on while they get this next part of their assistant working right. So you can relax for today. I don't think you need to do a quick panic move and change to another voice assistant. But I do think that this is a time when you should be learning about these generative AI experiences and how different companies are going to deploy them. Google is doing that right now, and it looks like they are replacing the Google Assistant with what they call Bard. Now, I broke that situation down, and I even showed you how you can use Bard a little bit. That's in the video that's up on screen now, so go check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.